Pablo Picasso's technique and style. First is the Guernica in 1937. The dramatic subject is subdued, painted the Grisel technique, a method using a neutral monochrome palette. Guernica combines cubist structures with a monochrome palette, which renders the painting more realistic. It is, however, the surrealist images that create the shocking representation of suffering and war. Second is The Weeping Woman in 1937. Picasso has created a grainy texture on her anguished face by scratching lines of paint with a brush. In marked contrast to the back of his Ingevis, Weeping Woman's strand of hair fall limply and her feeble hand seems almost incapable of lifting her handkerchief. Frontal view, a technique often used in Picasso's portraits and a typical Cubist technique. Third is the Les Demoiselles d'Avignon in 1907. Instead, he emphasized the flat, two-dimensional nature of the picture and avoided the use of traditional techniques like linear perspective and foreshortening, as well as chiaroscuro and modeling. In 1907, the painted Les Demoiselles d'Avignon, which is focusing more toward Cubism and modern abstraction. It was the first style of abstract art. Last is The Girl Before a Mirror in 1932. When you look closely at the image, you can interpret many different symbols within different parts of the painting. The woman's face, for one, is painted with a side profile and a full frontal image. One side shows the daytime, the other side with a rough charcoal texture portrays her at night. Second artist is George Braque, his technique and style. First is the Portuguese. Cubism is a technique that was used in the creation of the Portuguese painting. George Braque introduced this technique of painting in 1911. George Braque combined the two techniques to come up with the Portuguese. The stenciled numbers and letters in the art are the assertions of realistic intentions of the Cubism technique. Second is the Violin and Candlestick in 1910. In this conceptual approach to painting, preserved forms are broken down, fractured, flattened, and then reconstructed in multiple point perspective within a shallow space. Braque described this kind of fragmentation as a technique for getting closer to the object. Last is the Fruit Dish and Glass. In Fruit Dish and Glass, Braque combines Cubist drawing with illusionistic representation, words, and decorative paper printed with a wood grain pattern. This work often included drawings that used techniques associated with Cubism, such as deconstructing objects into fragmented, angular forms seen from multiple perspectives.